And welcome back to the Your Money Hour show. I am your host, Dakota Grady. Personal finance is something that you need year round, not just during the new year or year end. You need personal finance every single month. I can help you with maximizing your money. Find out more about me at dakotagrady.com. Oh, also, I am an author of the book Financial Hope, Principles for a Prosperous Financial Future. Check it out online at my website at dakotagrady.com. That's dakotagrady.com. Oh, and by the way, I also can help you with your taxes and your business accounting. Been doing accounting since 2012, so I'm experienced in the real world, not just book smart, but I have real experience as well. Check out my website at the ATDoc. That's the ATDOC.com. So welcome back to the second segment. I have a guest, my first in-show guest in the studio with Pam Adams. A mutual friend of ours is Quentin Holland. Q, thank you for the shout out, brother. So today I'm going to talk about life. This show is about money, business, and life. So we're going to talk about life today with Pam Adams. And without further ado, who you are. Thank you for the show. Coming to the show, Pam.
Thank you, Dakota, for inviting me. And thank you, Quentin, also for bringing us together. And I'm Pamela Adams. I am a resident of Greenville County here, and I'm a transplant from New York, but I've been here long enough. I am a self-employed interior designer. I've had my business for a while since I graduated with my degree in interior design and architecture. And I love what I do. And of course, I have many other hats as a woman, as a mom here. I do a lot. So that's my passion in terms of making sure that people's homes and environments, their businesses, their schools, commercial space, their restaurants have the look that is appropriate for what their use is for.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So that's your passion, but your real passion, I think, is justice. So we talked about basically the Equity Justice Initiative, EJI, mm-hmm. and talk about that because in the last segment I talked to Leonard Pierce, and you mentioned basically a hospital in Clinton that was segregated. So what is your passion for justice?
My passion, aside from my business with interior design, is equal justice. And the Equal Justice Initiative, which we would just abbreviate by EJI, was started in 1989 by Brian Stevenson in Montgomery, Alabama. And as an attorney, his passion was to defend those who were wrongfully incarcerated. The extreme abuse of people who were wrongfully incarcerated, those who needed to be protected, their rights, their human rights to be protected. And if anyone has seen the movie based on his life called Just Mercy back in 2019, also the book that he wrote based on his life and the life of the people that he was able to help, and also to change the racial and economic justice within our nation among our people. So EGI has a powerful force with being able to help the most vulnerable and the most, of course, misenfranchised and people like the Black community, where we are always trying to get above and not drown within the systemic issues of racism that are in our nation.
So honestly, like the information you sent me about EJI, I looked through it and it's like, man,
it's a lot.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's heavy.
The lynchings back in the 1800s, and even in Greenville, I think George Green was lynched in 1933.
George Green was lynched in 1933. Right now, the information is over 6,500 documentations of lynchings within our nation. Over 6,500. Of course, that's documentation. That's not the ones that we don't know that were lynched. Same thing in South Carolina, 189, and 4 of those were in Greenville. Again, the ones documented. So we know that there were people, and we hear stories through this whole project of older people saying, what about the guy who was lynched or was hanging in the train station in Taylor's? And we're like, well, we don't know about that one. So there's information and things that are coming out while we are doing this project. One thing about equal justice with EJI, Brian Stevenson's passion, again, is to bring the conversation to address the history and the legacy of lynchings and racial injustices within our nation by allowing communities to collaborate with them. And so they create these community remembrance projects. And through that, we delve ourselves as volunteers and very passionate people to bring up like what actually happened within our community, what happened in our town, what happened into our county. And so it has opened the eyes of not just the Black community, but the white community has, and since all the protests and everything that's happened last year, there's a lot of white guilt, and so white people are having those conversations where they would not have before. So it's a very heavy, stressful, oppressive kind of conversation, but it has brought out a lot of healing too. So the end result is to continue the healing within our communities. And we know that the grief in the mourning of the loss of our dear brothers and sisters, women and children were also lynched, which lynching doesn't mean hanging. Many, like our victims, like Tom Keith was shot several times. Ira Johnson and Robert Williams. These people were hung, but they were also shot over 500 times. And their bodies were left. And this was in Greenville, San Souci area, Travelers Rest, Buncombe Street. So there's areas very close to where our communities are. And I'm sure these trees may still be there. So.
And I think it's like one of the Pales or something. I'm familiar with those areas. And Taylor's my dad's side of the family is from Taylor's. I'm like, wow, it was before my parents. But still, I mean, I'm familiar with the area. And that's one reason why, honestly, I push so hard, because in the back of my mind, I know it's there, but I don't think about it often. But when I see stuff like that, to remind me, like, this is why I grind so hard, because people died so that I can grind. People died so I can be on the radio station. People died so that I can vote. People died so I can have children, have a life. I'm like, man, why am I wasting my time playing video games? I mean, Leonard, nothing against you, brother. I still love you, but I'm saying just for me, speaking for me. But for me, I spent so much time wasting my life. And people, like, if I would interview somebody who was lynched, like George Green, he would probably say, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, I died so that you can move this thing forward. Right. So how did you get involved in EJI? And I think you all did an event last November, correct?
In 2019, we had an event to commemorate the murder, the death of George Green, again in Taylor's, and him and his wife Mary Green lived in Taylor's, right next to Taylor's First Baptist. Well, the church wasn't there, but the property was there, and he was renting the land. The owner said, well, we don't want you here anymore, because he just felt like that he didn't have enough to pay to stay there. So again, they brought the lynching mob, the KKK came and they murdered him, and in his home. And there's a descendant who has told her story, Miss Maxine Moraney, during that event. And everybody was, again, the reality of Greenville, of course, being the fastest growing city in the nation on this side. But we also have our history that we need to discuss.
And this is something, I mean, like, when I moved back here last July, and I love Greenville. And honestly, like, that kind of stuff right there, the stuff we're talking about now, it doesn't even, resonate with me. My mom went to Wayhampton High School, and she has a picture in the paper that she's, like, showing basically what, I guess, segregated back in the day. But she was one of the first Blacks to, I guess, integrate, whatever. But I'm like, I'm an 80s kid, so I'm not far removed from that, but I didn't grow up during the 60s. So I need stuff like this to remind me of why it's important to have conversations about lynchings, about segregation, about integration, about racism, because I shouldn't forget about it. But just because Greenville is booming, we still have issues.
We do.
I mean, even when I was in Tennessee, they got issues. I'm sure they got issues in your hometown, right?
Sure.
So we can't let progress wipe out the past.
Right. If I can just say, we have an event coming up March 30th. It's Tuesday, March 30th at 6:30. It's a virtual meeting, virtual event to commemorate Tom Keith. And if you go to the Community Remembrance Project, Greenville County, if you search that, then you'll find how to register for that event. Also, we're on Facebook. So again, Community Remembrance Project, Greenville County. You'll be able to find information about how to connect with us if you want to volunteer or donate, or just to talk or to hold an event. That would be great.
So can you give some details about that, about the commemorates, like what will be taking place?
There'll actually be it'll be a drama. So through the Glow Link Theater, Jeremiah Dew, Lloyd Rashad, and Alden Burrows, there will be the actors who will be doing a skit based on racism and the events.
All right, all right. So how did you get involved in this?
I attended a breakfast at that DLI, which is Diversity Leadership Initiative that Riley Institute puts on with their alumni. And I heard EJI came and they did a presentation and they said, if you would like to have this done in your community, in your county, sign up. And I did.
Awesome, awesome. So before we close, what do you need to tell the audience about life?
Again, I research and learn as much as you can and spread education and educate the young people and leave a legacy and an inheritance for your family, for your community, and for others.
Awesome, awesome. So how can people connect with you online?
They can go on, again, Community Remembrance Project, Greenville County. Also, my website is Dream Designs and Innovations. You can also link onto Design Concierge at Home. You can go on my website on Design Concierge at Home, and you can contact me also at 864-275-7047.
So we got about a minute. Anything else you want to wrap up with? Or
I just want to say one thing. I think that there's a lot of young Black women and moms in general. Many of them have lost their jobs last year. Millions of women lost their jobs last year. And I know it's hard. And when I went back to school to get my degree in interior design, I had no money. I had nothing. But I wanted to change lives, and I wanted to do it with the passion that was important to me to help others. So you can do it. I believe you can do it.
Awesome, awesome. So thank you for joining me on the Your 1 Hour Show. And I'm going to bring you back because I want to talk about your business. So try to do another segment.
Yes.
Hopefully you have enough time and we'll better connect again. So this is the Your 1 Hour Show. Thank you all for listening. And then check out the initiative. Can you get a website real quick?
Yeah, Community Remembrance Project, Greenville County. Just search that and you'll find our link.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. This is the Your 1 Hour Show. And thank you all for listening. Take care.